Hello. Hello. Vinith sir, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm there.
Yeah, welcome, welcome. With 10 minutes are there. Students will join. How are you?
Fine, sir, fine, going good.
Yeah. Okay, okay. So HOD sir is busy in one of the, he will join soon. Okay.
Okay,
So
no,
because the session is going on, and once that finish, the students will be here.
okay, no problem, sir, no problem.
I hardly it will take 5 to 10 minutes. Okay.
Okay, no problem, sir. No.
Have you informed Bharat sir?
Yes, sir,
Yes.
already.
Yeah. Bharat sir, are you there?
Yes, I am there.
Yes, sir. So welcome, sir. Okay. Malka sir, can I start?
Yeah, we can. You can go
Yes,
ahead.
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I request all of the participants to just mute yourself. So am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible.
So myself, Jairaj Zaveri, Assistant Property a professor at the Sanjeevani College of Engineering Department of MBA. I welcome all of you for today's panel discussion on the budget 22-23. And as you all know that national budget has been announced yesterday by our Finance Minister, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman, and many discussion has been taking place across the country and what this budget is all about, whether this budget would help the economy to boost or not. So many questions are in the mind of the people, how it will affect the economy, how will it affect the common man. And so it is not just mere an estimation of expenditure and the income, but it is a way ahead that it affects the economy and the common man as well. So it becomes very important for all of us, being from the management background, to understand the implications of the budget on the economy and on us as well. So we, Sanjeevani of the College of Engineering Department of MBA, the head of the department, Dr. Vinod Malka sir, so took this initiative, and he asked us to organize one budget session, so whereby the students and the society would be benefited at large, understand the hooks and the nooks of the budget. So I take this opportunity on behalf of the Sanjeevani College of Engineering and the Department of MBA. Welcome everyone. Well, as you know that the topic is mainly related to all of us and very important for all of us. So we are having a very wonderful panel today among us. This panel is very young and the dynamic personalities among us. So totally 4 panels members are there. And in a panel 1, we are having a very dynamic personality, Mr. Bharat Munim sir. Sir is an investment banker. He is a managing director at Omelette Private Limited. Sir, we welcome you, sir. In the another panel, we are having a chartered accountant and also in a CS and LLB, chartered accountant Dinesh Buret sir. Sir has an extensive experience in the finance and accounting. He's also the partner in a Jain Chartered and Associated, and he has also been a motivational speaker. Sir, we heartfully welcome you, sir. Then in the next panel, we are having a Professor Vinit Upadhyay sir. He's a faculty at one of the renowned School of Commerce in Mumbai. He's also an entrepreneur and having his own organization, PU Educational Services at Mumbai. And sir is also having a very extensive experience in banking and the finance. He has delivering many sessions he has delivered on the banking. And sir, we welcome you all. And we are having our head of the department, the professor and head, an inspiration and a thoughtful leader, Dr. Vinod Malka sir. Sir, we welcome you to this panel discussion. So before going ahead to this, I would request our HOD sir to give just a brief introduction about our MBA policy. So over to you, sir.
Yeah. Just a moment. So I welcome today's guest. Just a minute.
Yes.
Yeah, I welcome today's guest, Mr. Bharat Munim, investment banker and MD, Omelette Private Limited, Mumbai. I also welcome chartered accountant Dinesh Buret sir. I request please on the camera so that the audience will come to know. I request Dinesh sir is a partner in Jain Chartered and Associate Chartered Accountants Nashik. He's a gold medalist and is a lawyer again and very well hands in the area of taxation. With us, Mr. Vinit Upadhyay, faculty at LLDH School and College of Commerce, Entrepreneur, Educational Services, Mumbai. So all these personalities welcome to this webinar on post-budget decoding of Union Budget 2022. Sir, Sanjivani College of Engineering Department of MBA established in the year 2010 by providing education, quality education to rural masses. And I am very happy to inform you that Sanjivani MBA is an autonomous program, A grade, NAC accredited A grade. And we have recently, before 3 years, got an academic autonomy to our institutes. We have very good placement records also, and our students are, as you know, shining in the corporate world, giving an insight how the budgets are going on. So yesterday the budget has published and given in our house by Nirmala Sitharaman, Finance Minister. So it is very important to know those who wants to decode the budgets in all angles. So you all as an expert has expected to talk with my colleague Jairaj sir, who is moderating this session to go ahead. So once again, I welcome you for your valuable thoughts on decoding the budget of 2022-23. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I request everyone just to mute yourself. Okay. So before going ahead, I would like to brief everyone regarding how we are going to conduct this panel discussions. So different rounds we are going to take. So round number 1 will all about that every panel will still get a 10 minutes time to give an overview on the budget. The second round will be the moderators around, whereby the moderator will put the questions to the panel. So with an objective of enhancing the education and enlightening the audience on the budget. And the third round would be an audience round, whereby the audience questions will be taken. And the last round would be the summation round, whereby in the 2 minutes, every panelist will conclude the session. So I request, I need a permission from sir to just start my session.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
Is it possible to on your camera also, sir?
Sir, no, mine is not, sir, possible, sir. Please
okay,
type.
okay.
Yeah. Vinesh, sir, can you on your camera, Vinesh, sir?
It's already.
Yeah, he's on. Yeah. Okay. So I will start with the panel number 1. I hope Bharat Munir, sir, it's over to you, sir. We need your enlightenment on this overview of the budget.
Okay. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me on this prestigious panel. And I thank Sanjeevani Institute and also appreciate the initiative taken by the Institute for the students as well as the society at large. Now, when we speak about the union budget, it is always an excitement in the heart of the profession in which we are dealing into. So I, being an investment banker and the financial market, you can say investor and trader, we always switch on the TV channel and try to listen to finance minister on as large screen as possible. And all our business associates, friends, and meet together. And it's just like a usual festival to us. But yesterday, that particular festival, according to me, turned down into India-Pakistan match, which was happened in the T20 World Cup. So the excitement which was carried by each and every person that this is going to happen, that is going to happen, that has actually not happened. And the expectation which was built by the government, in the last union budget seems to be reducing the enthusiasm of the financial market and investment banking, in fact, all of us. Having said that, I'm not saying anything negative about the budget. I'm not giving, yes. So I'm not at all negative about budget in any way. It is just that your expectation, your excitement has not been met. It seems like that. The highlights of the budget, if I have to tell you, there was a expenditure growth projection which was done by Union Minister, Finance Minister, that was from 35 lakh crores to 39 lakh crores. The actual figures which came upon for the last year was 37 lakh crore. Now here I would like to just give you one small insight. Our GDP growth projection is around 8 to 9%. And if you calculate from 37 lakh to 39 lakh projected expenditure, it is actually in line with the GDP growth. Now, this particular analytical things we used to do when we read the budget. So as a finance, I'm sure there will be many management students who are from the finance background and economics background. So this kind of reading is definitely you would also be doing. So this is one of the reading which I found out, that budget is just an ongoing process of the previous budget which was announced. There were a huge plan and a roadmap which were given by the government in the last year's union budget, and this year it was just like an following up the previous union budget. If you speak about the taxation aspects, there was no change, everybody knows it. And what affected or what influenced the common man, that is something which we can discuss in Q&A session. So not getting into those aspects, but especially about my expertise in the financial market, I'll speak about that. So financial market has completely ignored, if you see the movement in the market, the way it has happened, the flow of FIIs, the flow of DIs coming into the market, it has nowhere affected due to the budget. Market is moving the way it was expected. The flow is coming the way it is expected. The budget per se has not demotivated the investor and not even motivated the investor. So market is going as per its own speed, which was prior to budget, and with budget or without budget, the financial market and as such the funding process has not got any, you can say, good thing or neither the bad thing. As far as funding process concerned, if we speak about the startup, the government is working since 2016. I am watching this government. They are constantly focusing on the startups. Now, one good thing about this particular thing, government is this: in each and every budget, if you see, there is a constantly, you can say, the discussion about startup is always being made. Now, this is one wonderful thing. In addition to that, the best thing which I found, or I would, it may be good, best, I don't know, but the thing about digital university, if you notice or not, I don't know, because it is very less talk topic, but we are sitting in the education institute, so we should know. There was an announcement done by finance minister regarding digital university. So in upcoming year, you may see the way your institute is there. Similarly, there would be a big institute with the digital university. And just to add on, all these concepts which our government is doing is in line with the futuristic technology, which is going to replace many aspects of our life. I don't know many of you are aware about metaverse or not, but metaverse is something which is definitely going to affect your lifestyle and definitely the way you are learning things and the way you are living. So with this particular note, touching upon digital university, taxation aspects, impact on financial market, and relating briefly the current budget with previous budget, I end my speech and over to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your opinion on the budget. It is a really balancing budget. Hello. Now I just request the Chartered Accountant Dinesh Burad sir to just put forth his point of view on the budget. Over to you, sir. Hello.
Sir, on your mic, sir. Sir, mic is off.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you, Bharat Munim, sir, for putting forth your view on the budget. And really, the balance is budget. There is no, extra reactions from the market as well. And now I request another panelist, Chartered Accountant Dinesh Burad, sir, to put his view on the budget.
Good morning, everyone. There is always a pleasure to be a speaker at the prestigious Sanjeevani Institute, and I have been taking a sessions with the support of Malkar sir for last 2-3 years, and it's always a pleasure to be among the enthusiastic student and enthusiastic faculty, more energetic faculty. And it's a good learning exposure to all the students and everyone to get the insights of the budget and understand how it is happening and what are the actual provisions or what are the announcement made in the budget. So since like I understood that most of the participants are students of BBL, right? So
MBA,
BBA and
BBA,
MBA, both.
yes,
Both
so I'll take a few time to give a brief background, like what the actual budget is and why it is presented and what are the announcement made. So budget is basically the provision made by the government of India for the proposed expenditure or proposed allocations made for the financial upcoming financial year 22-23, and the thing is how it will get the money to fund those financials. So there is a receipt side of the government. It is by way of taxes, custom duties, then any other taxes, then divestment is there. And like we see for the expenditure side, there is social welfare benefits are there. Then there is a payment of interest done by the government, because many of you have heard the term fiscal deficit. So fiscal deficit is nothing but the excess expenditure over the revenue of the government. So our government is always into fiscal deficit, like it is spending more than what it actually earning. So how it will fund those deficit? It is through the borrowing made by the government of India. So 20 to 25% of the expenditure of the budget is going into the interest payment made by the government only. So another thing which they make the money expenses is for a pension is there, then subsidies is there, defense is there, then the share of taxes given to the state government. So like Bharatji said, there was not much announcement, and this budget was the shortest of the budget presented by the Nirmala Sitharaman for the only 90 minutes. Previous budget was for 2.5 hours, I think. So good thing for the common man is like Bharatji said ki budget is nothing but a festival for all of the professional and the common man ki हमारे लिए इसमें से क्या मिलेगा, क्या announcement रहेगी, क्या रहेगा. Many people were expecting like upcoming UP elections are there, and few states elections are also there. So it will be the populist budget. Populist budget means there will be range of announcement for the common people. But I would like to say the only good thing for the common people is there is no increase of taxes by the government of India. So this is the only good thing we can take from this budget. And like this budget was more growth oriented. This BJP government, like it has come into power for the second time, the main focus of this government is Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas, growth oriented. The good thing about this budget was it has budgeted around 7.5 lakh crore rupees for the infrastructure spending, road development, then housing and all. So this budget is more of a growth oriented budget, considering the spending done by the government. From the taxation point of view, there are not much announcement made during the budget, like there is no change in personal income taxes. The slab rates were same as they were in previous year. The tax benefit for the startup is increased by the period of 1 year. Like finance minister has also said that there are around 61,400 startups registered in India who are availing those income tax benefit. Like there is benefit of 3 years tax exemption given to the startups. So if any of the startup registered by the period of 31st March 2023, that startup will also be eligible for the benefit under the taxation. Another thing was ECLGS, that it extended guarantee scheme by the government. During the COVID, the government has announced the measure for extension of credit facilities to existing borrower. So this scheme was extended by 1 year. This scheme is nothing but the excess borrowing made by the businessmen and companies, which is guaranteed by the government of India. So bank is not hesitant to give this borrowing. From the taxation point of view, the corporate taxes, which is the income tax of the companies, which was earlier 25%, and in during 2019, October 2019, it has reduced to 15% for the newly registered companies after 1st October 2019. So this period of newly established companies has been extended till 31st March 23. So if any of the manufacturing companies registered in India and start the actual production, so income tax rate for that company will be 15%. Otherwise, it is around 25%. So there is change in custom duties of few products for boosting the local production and for consumption of those production. Corporate tax we have already discussed. So one provision is there, which is deduction of TDS on the purchase of property. If you purchase a property of 50 lakhs rupees, you have to deduct 1% TDS before making payment to government. So earlier this 1% TDS deduction was for consideration amount of the agreement. Now it has changed to 1% of stamp duty value or consideration, whichever is higher. So there are a couple of things coming which we will take in during question and answer session. So LIC IPO is coming, and cross-border insolvency has also gained approval during this budget session. So one more thing I will add and just sum up my session, sum up this session, that many of you have heard this cryptocurrency related. Cryptocurrency, bitcoins, then NFTs there. So earlier there was no clarity of taxation of this cryptocurrency and bitcoins. Now government has given a tax rate of 30% tax for this cryptocurrency, and 1% TDS provision has also been given. So it is, this currency is not legally accepted, but they have specified a taxation structure for these digital currencies and cryptocurrency. And one more announcement which was made by the finance minister was this, like there is bitcoins and other cryptocurrencies, RBI will also come up with its own digital coin by using the blockchain technology. So many good things are there, many expectations were there which were not made. So hopefully it's a balanced budget and more focused in the upcoming years, not a short term but a long term period. So this is all from my side, and looking forward to question answer session from
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So really, you well said that budget is a festival, but I can add you that this is a festival without any discount this time. So thank you, sir. Now I will request so Professor Vinit Upadhyay, sir, to just enlighten us on the topic.
Thank you so much, Jairat sir, for wonderful introduction, and I guess I'm thankful to you as well as Malkar sir for giving us this opportunity to be here amongst the students of Sanjeevani Group and talking to them and enlightening them on budget. Budget, whatever things you do, ultimately, you know, after 100 times you read about it, you will come out with new insights, and always, you know, it is something which will be, sticking to your mind that something new is there in this. As far as this budget is concerned, I guess most of financial markets and other related stuff that has been discussed, I would like to put, very big emphasis on infrastructure in terms of PM Gati Shakti program, which is being created by the government of India, and under which, you know, around about 25,000 kilometers of highways will be built. With that, you know, the network of railways to be improved. With that, 400 Vande Bharat trains to be introduced very soon. And these productions are being taking place in India. So obviously, you know, it will help us to generate employment as well. New cargo establishments, cargo center establishments by the railways, that will also help us to improvise the logistic structure as far as this country is concerned. So a lot of things that can be discussed over here in that particular part. Of course, since this government came into power, we all have been knowing that the government has been always concentrating on digitalization and various things. As far as land records are concerned, one nation, one process, and one software. That particular thing is also one of the big highlights of this particular budget, whereby this land records will be maintained in a proper manner and uniform manner across the country. That will help us to retrieve the data properly. So that is something which is also very important aspect. As far as healthcare is concerned, what kind of digital growth can be done in that, government will be spending on that particular part as well. We are into Maharashtra, and Maharashtra is an economy where agriculture plays a very vital role. Yes, it was expected that the government might be giving some benefits to the farmers, or some kind of promises in terms of MSP. That could not happen, and which is going to be a very difficult task for the government to complete. But again, directly giving MSP price to the farmers in their bank accounts, that is something which is going to be a good thing, whereby the middleman extraction of money that has been happening and it is not helping the farmers to grow, that is going to be somewhere, if it is being executed properly, it will be a very big boost for the farmers as well. When we talk about, as Bharat sir already told about digital university, government also plans to come up with around about 200 channels, whereby e-Vidya program, under the name of Prime Minister e-Vidya program, it will be delivered to the rural parts of the country, and students who are not able to have internet connections and other things, they can be benefited out of it. Another big highlight as far as this budget is concerned for me is something where government made it very clear that 68% of the defense procurement will be happening by the products which are made in India. That is something which I consider it as a master stroke, because it will reduce that much amount of burden on our forex reserves. That is the first thing. And another thing is that now, few days back, we had heard about a news that India will be exporting weapons. And if we see this particular thing, that most of the developed economies who are having a chunk of, good amount of GDP growth, or GDP across the world, good amount of GDP, they are the ones who are the biggest exporters of weapons. So India is going to claim its market share into that as well. That is something which I really consider it very important. Development in terms of our passport management system, whereby e-chips, embedded chips will be included in the passport. That is going to be making it very easier for people to track the records and all other things. PM Awas Yojana, which is supposed to be the big booster by this government, that not only the rural India but urban India should be also benefited with that same thing. And that is where 48,000 crores have been allotted by the Finance Minister Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman. That has been one of the good things. And the number of houses that are being awarded to the people, that should increase. That is what one of the major focus as far as budget is concerned. I guess sir had talked about the fiscal deficit. We all know that across the world, all the economies have suffered because of that particular pandemic situation. But still, despite of that fact, external borrowings have not been that great. So that is something which is to, government is not looking forward to borrow more funds. That will be something which will be good for the Indian economy in the long run. Yes, of course, as a middle class, we always analyze budget on the basis of, whether we get tax reliefs or not. And if it is not been given, we always say that budget is not that great. But if we see, as a middle class, one thing which we always look forward to is employment opportunities. And if we see that, government has put too much of emphasis in this budget in terms of creating employment opportunities. That is something which is going to be one of the biggest benefit that will be derived by the middle class. And another important stuff is that it will not only boost the employment opportunities, but also with the help of, capex expenditures being done. See, in last few budgets also, people were having this question that why government is not improvising its capex capital expenditures. And in this budget, when the government has done it, and it will help us not only to boost our employment, but also the industries in our country. And if we see, another important aspect relating to this is that the government's production linked incentive scheme has been one of the good response that has been given by the industry to the government. And looking at that, the government has also looked forward to increase the area of coverage for this production linked incentive scheme as well. So that is something which is very important. Another highlight which I consider, and Honorable Finance Minister also put in an emphasis on that the kind of GST collection, indirect tax collection, has increased. It is a good sign that we being a consumption based economy, we are always going to be benefited with terms of recovering ourselves in this difficult situation. But again, as I said, I have been always optimistic in terms of whenever budget comes up, and we need to look at the budget from overall perspective. So I always believe that we have that myth that if I am not being benefited directly, the budget is not for me. It is for everyone. And I have always mentioned at each and every place, with my closing remark, I would like to tell everyone about this, that in our houses, when we have to take a one small decision relating to buying a particular stuff, 5 people are there, we cannot build consensus very easily. When we are talking about keeping 130 crore of population happy, it is not possible for a single finance minister to keep everyone happy. So that is what I would like to say, that we need to look at with a broader perspective. And again, it is going to be a transforming budget, and it is with a big vision that the government has come up with this budget. I close my opening remarks with this. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving a holistic view on the budget. We can't make everyone happy. We can understand that. But one thing I say that salaried persons are really unhappy. They were expecting some discounts in the the tax slab. I hope the CA Dinesh sir will answer this the question in the coming session. So thank you everyone. We will move for the next round. Some specific questions are very important to be addressed. So I will start from our HOD sir, Malkar sir from here. He's been in education since many years, and he also have a very good knowledge on agriculture. So sir, in the second round, I will start from you. I would like to know that agriculture, there was a Kisan Andolan and all these things were going on, Malkar sir. So lot of discontentment was there among the masses, and now the government is ready to give an MSP support of around 2.37 lakhs. So how do you see it, agriculture income, whether the government would be able to double the income of the farmers or not? And again, one question is very important regarding education, because you being in education sector from many years, so digital university and the digitalization is been included in this budget. But we know that what are the problems of it. We all know that. So can you just please throw the light on it to everybody? Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you, Jairaj sir. First of all, being an agriculturist, I will throw a light on about an agricultural point of view as a budget. First of all, I appreciate the way of our GDP is increasing, which is expected to 9.2% growth, which is the highest in the world, which is as a large economy. So being an agriculturist, what I found here, they are starting promoting chemical-free natural farming. So which is starting with farmers' lands and with an river Ganga also. So I think this was something they had initiated. But how to increase the production with chemical-free, it's a very, very challenging as being a farmer. Let me address you. So there are we all are going with pandemic and viruses are coming. Similarly, crop is undergoing with lots of viruses because of changing in climate conditions. So being an agriculturist, I know that it is very, very challenging to go with an chemical-free, the crop pattern, which will not enhance the production again. So this is one thing I want to throw the light. And if you see even in developed country and many of the malls in India, now there is separate section of organic and inorganic. And whenever you go with an organic section, you find an highest rates of that commodity particularly. And Indian are very price sensitive. All the consumer are very price sensitive. Even you take an example of recently, even in Nirmala Sitharaman mentioned that we are importing edible oil, and which is having a very highest cost that we are bearing in terms of an edible oil. And anyhow, they want to promote the farmers to grow the edible oil in their farm. And even an Indian farmer, because of not MSP support, they are not growing that kind of seeds as an edible oil. And that is one of the reasons we have to import, because it is available in cheap rate as compared to production in India. We all being a middle class or higher middle class know that the oil that we had prepared with the natural waste, which is almost cost of 300 rupees per kg, and the common man is not affordable. So it is contradictory kind of things with an organic and inorganic waste. And if we try to move in organic, we'll not able to fit. So what happened with the green revolution, we are able to double or triple the productions of so many commodities because of there is an hybridization happens. And again, we are trying to move with this chemical free. It means the surely production will get reduced. One thing I like again, the promoting our post-harvest value addition. So they had boosted an agricultural, agro-based industries, and they wants to add some agro-processing units. I think if we look in terms of an export point of view to this area, and already last 10 years, government is working on startups, promoting the startups. So that will be helpful to you and the farmers to enhance their per capita income or their economic level. So if every village's self-help group is started working on starting their startup in line of agro-processing unit, I did my PhD in the area of agro-based industry. So I know the problems from post-harvesting to processing to marketing. And surely this kind of activity, at least they come to know. And even in the budget, at least realizes the pain of the farmers. Not much more improvement in comparing the figures of last year and figures of this year. So maybe very few percentage they had increased. But the fertilizer subsidy they had continued. The Kisan Andolan, which was popular and against of MSP, everybody was talking this government is against MSP. But with their yesterday's budget, we come to know that they had still continue with MSP and very good allocations. And majority of crop is now getting a rate above MSP. That is very good sign of demand and supply. So again, digitalizations and using a drone for spraying the crops. So that is again the pain, I think, understand by Nirmala Sitharaman, how the farmers are paying. But beyond that, there are lots of painful points also. So the spraying the spray with the drone will not just one pain point. beyond that, also being an agriculturist, I know what are other pain points. And they had launched a fund with a blended capital and in financial agricultural startups. So some of the initiative has taken really good in terms of an agricultural, like we see that they had focused on an infrastructure. If I talk about an agricultural infrastructure, the finance minister not talk anything related to that. Maybe establishment of cold chain or something. So I think this kind of budgetary provision I didn't find in terms of an agricultural. So this was regarding the area of agricultural. Moving with the education sector. So as Nirmala Sitharaman has rightly pointed out about the problems happen in education sector because of these pandemic situations, we are not able to, we have a loss. Majorly the rural Indian students has lost their academics very high way because of not getting that much of input of their class, and initiated the thought of online TV channels, which will again in the regional language channels with 200 TV channels. But again, it's a question mark about how to evaluations will happen, whether the students will watching that channel and learning is happening. And the technology can't replace entirely with human beings or teachers. Then they had talked about digital university. If you surveyed recently, now the students are again, many students are fed up with this now online education because of maybe in rural area, there is a issues of signal and not having a strong evaluation systems. If we come to know that the outcome of the last year batch was having an COVID stamp, and the percentage has been increased drastically, and many corporate has even conducting their own examinations. Recently, IIMs has also taking the scores up from their 10 standards, and even they had also realized the percentage has been increased. We can provide so many platforms to make the students aware about the topic of knowledge, but the education is not just delivery. It is very important in terms of an assessment, and very big point I think is missed in terms of an education, which is also we had reached to almost 1 lakh crores to an education. But again, if you consider previous year, it is just from 94,000 something to 1 lakh crore. So that is also not much more improvement. And in digital side, digital edutech startup has increasing day by day. But again, the GSTs are continuous on these edutech companies, and maybe more number of startup that may come in future, and digital university will also come, but will not much more affordable to even rural areas. And the quality of education is again a question mark. Simultaneously, national education policies are taking care of all these things. There are parallelly All India Council of Technical Education and UGC and NEP is working on that to improve the quality of education. But I think there was one major point I found and missing in an education sector, which is a teachers training and filling the vacant post of teachers. So which is not just fulfilled with this announcement with budgets, because of the teachers, if is not trained properly, they will not able to deliver properly. And that was an requirement of huge, the portions of budget should be invested on the training of the teachers. So with these two sectors, I just have my own thought, and which is very touched to my heart. That's why I decided to talk on thing. As a middle common man, all of you know, it is an expectations. But as said by Dinesh sir, not increasing tax, that is also the good sign from this budget. So we'll, with this positive note, I just put my thoughts on these two sectors. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful view on this agriculture and the education sector. And indeed, it's a very challenging for the government also to go for a chemical fertilizer-free agriculture, which seems to be very difficult. And again, education, we are going online. Sir, you rightly said that the cost might be low, but the outcome is very difficult to get from this online education. So thank you, sir. Thank you for your view on this. Moving ahead, I would like to ask my next question to Bharat sir, Bharat Munim sir.
Yes,
Sir, sir, we are proposing a spending of around 40 lakh crores. And so receipts are only estimated around 20 lakhs crores. So there is a great deficit is there. If we compare last year spending, it was around 37 lakhs crores. So this deficit is there. And earlier, if you see in the last year, the fiscal deficit was around 6.9. And now they are, having a target of 6.4. And government has the promise that in the coming year, in the 4 to 5 years, the deficit they want to have below 4%. Sir, how do you see? Because on one side the revenue is not that much increasing. If you see that the GST collection has just increased, and I have many questions on that. How the GST collection is increasing? We all know that because on one side you are having a gun on your, and then you have to pay it in anyhow. You have to pay the returns monthly, and then if you see, so this is the major problem which we are facing. So, what do you think that whether the government will achieve this target of keeping the fiscal deficit below 4.25 by the 2025?
okay. So I would say very well articulated and wonderfully, you can say, asked question by sir. So now understand this particular fiscal deficit of 6.9% and 4%. Okay, these are the percentage of the GDP. That is what government is targeting. Now, if I have to give you answer in a one word or one line, I would say I don't know whether 4% is achievable or not. Why? See, we have to understand the perspective. Now, I will just give you one simple example. First of all, let me tell you, I am neither in favor of government nor against the government. It's a honest opinion, which I do feel. And obviously from the happening which is in the market, we come to know all these things. So just an example. If you remember, government moved from WPI, that is the wholesale price index calculation of inflation, to CPI. And I think this has happened in the year 2012-13. Later on in the year 2015, this government came, the CPI definitely got continued, but there were some changes in the basket. So being an economic student, I think you must be knowing, all of you, the students who are sitting here. So there is a basket of commodities whose average price is being observed month on month, year on year. And on the basis of that, the inflation is getting declared. There is a commodities like food products and crude then is being removed, and there is a concept of core inflation. I'm not going to take the economics lecture, but just to tell you, there are some changes which government made in that particular basket, and we do see the inflation is completely reduced down. Now, if government is really going to do this with this particular aspects also, then we cannot comment anything. However, achieving 4% by 2025, whether it is achievable or not achievable, if that is a question, so there is an immense possibility of achieving it. It's not completely, you can say, a fake projection. I would say there are some senses which has been incorporated by the government for the purpose of achieving a 4% target. Now, what is behind their mind? That is very, very, you can say, not even a greatest economist are in a possible to read the minds of this government. That's why I'm repeatedly saying this. I'm not against the government. I'm not with the government, but there are many secret things. For example, the incident of, let's not get into politics, but just to give you an idea, the incident of Kashmir 370. I have never thought in even my dreams such thing is going to happen. but that happens. Similarly, in financial policy also, if you see, if I have to give you the crypto is being charged with 30%. Now everyone was knowing it is going to get charged with 30% only, but people were thinking it is digital assets, so there will be a loss kickback will be given, but there is nothing like that. So indirectly government is saying that you don't trade in crypto. We don't want you trading crypto. It's like that you trade. If you make profit, you pay 30%. If you don't make profit, there is no profit no loss. Now these are some, you can say, highlights which I want to bring it onto the table. Now keeping in those mind, if I see a completely numbers or historical data, the way sir rightly presented that 39 lakh crores is a projected expenditure. 22 lakh, sir said 20, but to be precise, 22 lakh is the income of the government. And there is a huge gap of 17 lakh crores. Now, if I do calculate that 17 lakh crore based on this particular 39 lakh crores, okay, then if this deficit to be reduced, government will have to either increase their income or reduce their expenditure. Reducing expenditure is not possible at all, because we have to follow expansionary fiscal policy. There is no other way. We are not yet developed, though people feel that startups have come up. Now startup ecosystem has been developed, but in order to fund that startup ecosystem, government will have to do spending. There will be a direct benefit given and there will be indirect benefits given. So government expenditure in coming 3 to 4 years are definitely going to get increased. Even though today, in my opening remark, I said that the government has increased its expenditure projection only by the percentage increase in a GDP, that is only by 8%, something like that. But if you see in coming futures, the government will be expanding their expenditure. The reason is very clear. We have a huge resources. India is having a huge potential, not only from the population perspective, from the natural resources perspective, from all the aspects. And it's not only the numbers. I repeat myself, we are not only a numbers. Every time it is said that 65% of the population of India is below 35, see the numbers. It's not only numbers, it's a talented numbers. Most of the Indians, most of the young people like you are a tech-savvy personalities, even though you are not from IT, but you are tech-savvy. The way we are conducting this particular webinar is proving, the smoothness of this webinar is proving that we are tech-savvy. The country entirely is now connected via internet, some or the other way. I do understand there may be some problems in villages and all. I'm not the right person to comment on this, as I have never experienced that particular aspects. But what I do see is there is a spread of Jio, Airtel, everywhere, if you see. Now, all this is going to bring a digital, you can say, transactions possible across world, not across India. Now, this particular talent are to be utilized in a right way. In order to utilize these resources, government will have to increase the spending. Now, the problem, this is something expenditure side I explained, it is definitely going to rise. Now, how income can be increased? There were many desperate steps which were being taken by government. I use word desperate step because there were two times. One, farmers bills, another, there was a interesting incident 2 months back. If you guys are aware or not, I don't know. There were GST on, you can say, cloth materials, which was earlier it was 5%, but government said 12%. Now it is actually a ridiculous. Why? Because roti kapda makan, if I speak in this language, okay, ye insan ka necessity hota hai. If you are going to increase that 12%, there's a huge amount of business and market over there. The black market, as the rightly said by that particular, you can say, you can kapad market people, that it will motivate the black money. It's very simple. So government has to balance both the things. Yes, we are targeting 4%, but how? The execution plan must be clear. Then only we can say it is achievable. If I have to say, as far as you can say growth potential and everything is concerned, on paper, it looks achievable. But practically, whether we are going to achieve it or not, it's a big question mark, which I personally feel it's a very difficult task. So I hope I have answered this particular question in as detail as possible. If any further question or related to this only, if you want to counter question, I am available to answer. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And indeed, even we can understand it's very difficult for the government to meet the targets. It's not that easy, but yes, we can say that steps have been taken by this government, at least, to increase the income and to reduce the expenses to the digitalization. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Can I add something to this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, please, sir, please.
So I just want to share few facts in numbers, like where this money come from. That sir told that 39 lakhs crores का आप खर्चा कर रहे हो, but पैसा है क्या अपने पास उतना? So basically, fact is 15% of the total revenue comes from the income tax which is paid by the individuals and the companies. 7% of the total revenue comes from the union excise duty which is paid on petrol, diesel, and liquor items. 15% again comes from the corporation or the companies who pays the income tax. So if you can see, the percentage is same for the companies as well as for the individuals. And in individuals also, I will say with more confidence that most of the taxation part comes from the salaried people only, because there is very much less scope for adjustment. So like sir said that GST is increasing day by day. So there are also other factors which is helping fueling those rising numbers of GST. So if you are aware, there are two concepts. One is output tax and another one is input tax. So day by day, government is increasing restrictions on the input tax credit, due to which tax payment is rising and there is a high rise in collection of GST. So GST constitutes 16% of the total revenue of government. Then 5% is for the custom duty which we pay on the import of the bill. 5% is non-tax revenues. 2% comes from the disinvestment and capital receipt. Just say Air India government has given to private parties. Now LIC is there, and then other PSUs are there for this. And remaining 35% of the revenue comes from borrowings and other liabilities. So government is borrowing funds for all these capital expenditure जो भी allocation कर रहे, and against this 35% borrowing, जो अपना 100 रुपए का खर्चा हो रहा है उसमें से 20% is going into interest payment only for those borrowing. So these are the facts I wanted to add for this question. Thank you.
Yeah, very well, Dinesh sir. पैसा कहाँ से आ रहा है वो पता होना चाहिए. Being an all BBA and MBA students, उनको तो surely पता होना चाहिए कि यार हमारे पास पैसा तो होना चाहिए. And there is very less margin to give again the concession on the tax,
Yes.
so that government don't want to reduce their income.
So it
but
is.
There is one question in my mind, as just this 30% on cryptocurrency or digital things has been increased. So do you think in future that will be the substantial component that may come as a revenue part of a government?
See, generally the investment pattern is wherever there is people see capital appreciation or increase in income, people go and invest to tax. As long as investors or the people see there is more benefit than the cost, like 30% से ज़्यादा अगर उनको return मिल रहा है, so they will go and invest in the bitcoins and all. So the normal tendency of the government is to discourage people from investing in those currencies due to higher taxes. So if the this digital currencies or bitcoins is able to provide much higher return than FDs and capital market, so people are going to invest it because they will not think of that taxes then. अगर मेरे को 100 रुपया मिलने वाला है 100 रुपए के लिए, तो 30% ठीक है, वो तो मैं भर के I can claim invest in that currency.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And indeed, it is, the money attracts the people, and so whatever the risk are there, they're ready to take. And I would like to add one point where yes, you were talking about the GST collection, and the historic GST the collection has been in the month of January. And so we are the collection is increasing. So revenue part once increased, then we are able to mitigate the gap. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Next important question is for all the students, even for what this government is doing actually. My question is with Vinit sir. I would like to have your opinion regarding this. Sir, we have seen that this government since from the year 2014, they are mainly focusing on the disinvestment policies. And there is a criticism that you are raising the finance and raising the collection by selling the assets of the government. मतलब आप बेच के पैसा ला रहे हो. And in the long term, it may hit the common man as well, because the public sector, if you are going to sell it, it's fine. You are giving Air India to Tata. Again, LIC IPO is the coming. We can understand that. But even the common man is that is the perception that whether this government is going to sell everything or what, to just raise the revenue, because public sector objective is the common man's objective. The profit is not an only objective. If you give it into private hands, the balance sheet would be empty. But what would be of the common man? If you give MSRTC into the hand of the Tata, he would not run a bus to the Vaitag Hawadi where only one or two people will go. They will always think about the profit. So I just would like to have whether because last year also 78,000 crores have been raised by the disinvestment, and again this year they're planning for a 65,000 crores. So what is this government thinking about? How it will affect the common man? Everyone is in a dilemma. You please enlighten us. So you're not audible.
Sir, on your mic.
Yes.
I was just desperately waiting for this kind of questions to come up, and you can answer this in a different way. See, you have to understand this one thing very clearly. Earlier, there have been certain measures which have been taken, which were very much, means I don't want to get into politics, but I'm just putting it a view in front of people so that they understand what I'm trying to say. Just for the sake of creating a populist measure of bringing about a factory into a particular region, about railway coaches where there was not a single production of iron वहां पे होता है, और फिर भी वहां पे रेलवे फैक्ट्री लगाना और वहां पे ट्रांसपोर्टेशन करके आप पहुंचाते हैं और फिर वहां पे प्रोडक्शन होता है, which is again putting burden on the taxpayers' money as well. See, if you see, this particular government has been carrying out the legacy to a certain extent, which was started by Vajpayee government, where certain industries, which means, I always say that the government has no business to be in business. It is as clear as that. In simple word, it goes like this, that the government job is to administer the things and run the country. Their job is not to do business. First thing. Second thing, as a taxpayer, I always feel that I should get something. If the government is running loss-making companies and they are, fulfilling the, losses from my tax money, then I will not get development. Am I ready for that? That is one question that people need to ask themselves. If at all, see, I'm not against that, or many people might think that I'm talking very capitalistic view of this particular question, but I'm just telling in a very common language that, we need to understand this aspect as well. If we are going to, carry the luggage of loss-making companies on our shoulders and then expect development to happen, that will be hurdled. That will have a hurdles to face. If we are looking forward for a development, then certain amount of hunchbacks which are there, we have to reduce our burden on that. So that is where this thing is going to be working in a particular way. See, of course, social welfare cannot be ignored totally as far as country like India is concerned. You cannot run away with that responsibility. But again, this government has done to an extent a monetization of this kind of activities which were being earlier carried out by the government. Let us take an example. We have given airport management and other things to the private players to make sure that they are being operated efficiently, and they have an objective of making profit out of it, and which will be just making our efficiency better and get good results for the government. and government is out of that particular administration of day-to-day administration of that particular thing. So we have not sold those airports, or we have not sold. That needs to be understood in this particular way. Now, at one side, when you are saying that railways is being sold to someone, private players, and at that same point of time, you have an agitation going on in Bihar stating that the railway jobs are not being given to the students. See, there is a contradiction in kind of demands that you are making. We need to understand this thing, that India has a big leap to achieve. Either we want development, or either we want to carry the hunchbacks of those industries, like some of the industries earlier which were being disinvested by the government of India during Vajpayee regime, was the hotel business. Now, if I tell you that hotel business, what is the role of a government in doing hotel business? That is not something which will be for public welfare. So we need to understand the aspect of each and every decision that is being taken up, and that is where the load of the government as far as administrating these things are concerned should reduce, so that government can focus on getting the development done for the country. So I leave the opinion to the honest forum that you have to decide as in youngsters that either we would be, and any particular management student will not say that loss making units hai usko chalate raho. We have to either revive it, or either we have to get out of it. So the one thing is very clear: if you want development, this luggage extra burden you have to remove, or to an extent, if you want to revive it, then revive it and make it a profitable one, or at least not profitable one. Then I should not be spending too much of money on making them available to people. At least I should be able to reach up somewhere up to BEP. I'm not against the social welfare, but when we talk like this, people might have an objection to this, that you are totally ignoring the social welfare side. But somewhere down the line, as a taxpayer, I always believe that we need to think rationally as far as these decisions are concerned. जरूरत पड़ने पर हमारे पुरखों का जो घर रहता है या जो भी चीज रहती है, हमको पैसों की जरूरत हो तो आपको वो सेल ऑफ करना पड़ता है. वही चीज के बारे में when it comes to the government side also, you have to think in that way, that it was a time when it happened. Now it is a time to move forward. We can invest in more profitable areas. We should look forward to do so.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your view. And the time will say that how this decision of the government would impact the people. My next question to CA Dinesh sir. Sir, it's regarding the taxation, and you are the right person to make us explain this. So, Dinesh sir, if you see that lot of expectations was there, because since 2 years we are in a pandemic, and employment, if you say the unemployment rate, it was around 7.5, the highest in the history of India, independent India, if you see. And again, if you see the taxes, the middle class lost their jobs and everything. And again, we are on a routine, right path, we are developing again. So we were expecting something from the government, the middle class people, but if you can see that no changes in the taxations are there. See, last time, if you see that when the taxes get reduced, the number of the taxpayer is increasing. And we were expecting that some relief, at least of the 50,000 or in something in the ATC would have been added, except NPS, you can say that it is going from 10 to 40%. So what is the opinion of why government? Okay, again, elections are also there in the 5 years. So government could have taken this as a populist measure and to please the population. The government didn't take it, actually, didn't give a single rupee benefit. So because you are filing taxation of a number of people, you might be aware that they are expecting something. Even as a faculty, I'm expecting some concessions. So what is your opinion about it? Why government did this, and what is the logic behind it, actually? So please clarify on it.
So on your mic, sir, mic on.
So I think वो मराठी में बोलते हैं ना, दुखती नस दाबली गेली. So this question is very emotional to everyone's heart. Ki, like, see, there was expectation, like UP elections are there, so this would have been a populist budget, and they might have reduced the taxes. But before going to your questions, I would like to highlight few fact and like why everyone is expecting this reduction of taxes, then bit flexible in the slab rates which is prescribed by the government. So around 130 crores population of India, approximately, only 5 crores people file their income tax return. So if you see that percentage, it is around 3 to 4% only people file their income tax returns. Then why other people who are not paying their taxes, filing their return and expecting the reduction from the government? Like we have discussed earlier, so there are two types of taxes. One is direct taxes by way of income tax, which people are paying through their income tax return. Another one is indirect taxes. It is in the form of GST, custom duty, excise duty. So if a common man who is not filing his return go to petrol pump, fill the petrol, so he is paying their excise duty and VAT. So indirectly he is paying those taxes. So GST hai, excise duty hai, custom duty hai, all other taxes are being paid through indirect taxes. So everyone is having their expectations कि कहीं पे GST कम हो जाए. So या फिर like in income taxes, slab rates get reduced, or ATC deduction का जो limit है 1,50,000, that should be increased to at least 2,50,000 or 1 lakh. So I don't understand the logic behind the government of not going for the reduction of taxes or increasing the deduction limit. It is like we have discussed initially, it is more pro-budget, and they are increasing their capital expenditure, so that the kind of thinking this government have is, if they increase the capital expenditure, then jobs will be increased, and there will be demand in the market, and accordingly there will be money in the hands of the people. So I am quite with you that there is no benefit given in this budget for this reduction. But I am very much hopeful that this reduction in slab rates or the increase in ATC limit might happen during not 23 but पक्का 24 में आएगा ये.
सर एक चीज और है सर, आपसे जानना कि चाहते हैं एज अ टैक्स पेयर, क्योंकि उसमें ऐसा क्या है कि इनकम टैक्स में स्ट्रिक्ट प्रोविजंस है. नाउ योर प्रॉपर्टी मे बी सीज्ड, हाउ द क्लाइंट्स आर लुकिंग और द कॉमन मैन शुड लुक आफ्टर इट, बिकॉज certain changes have been made which are very strict in the income tax. Insolvency code is there again for the banks, and now what the government is trying to do, is it threatening?
So this first I will take your insolvency question. This insolvency is first of all applicable only for private limited and limited corporate LLPs. So limited liability partnership and private limited companies के लिए ही ये insolvency law applicable है. So there are provision for partnership firms and individual also, but the provision for individual and partnership firm is not yet enabled under insolvency. अगर वो enable हो जाएगा तो there will be flood of insolvency cases filed against everyone. पूरा भारत दिवाला हो जाएगा वो केस में. So this insolvency is only for private limited company and LLPs. So what was your earlier question, sir?
Income tax they have made.
Yes. So see, there is one thing called SFT filing, like specific financial transaction filing. So there are certain transactions whose details are available with the income tax department even before you file your income tax return. So number one is if you purchase a property above 30 lakhs, अगर 30 लाख के ऊपर अगर आप कोई प्रॉपर्टी लेते हो तो वो डिटेल्स इनकम टैक्स के पास जाता है. अभी हाउ दिस डिटेल्स गोज टू इनकम टैक्स डिपार्टमेंट, बिकॉज यू कोट योर पैन नंबर इन द डॉक्यूमेंट. You quote your PAN number in the document, और सब रजिस्ट्रार को मैंडेटरी फाइलिंग का डिटेल्स है which they needs to file with the income tax key. These are the list of people, these are the property they have purchased, and these are the amount for which they have purchased the property. Another one is cash deposit in your saving account up to 5 lakh and in current account up to 10 lakhs. अगर आप उसके ऊपर cash deposit करते हो, then these details are available with the income tax department. Then another one is if you are trading in the shares and investment and securities, for about 2 lakh rupees. This details is also available through the SFT reporting. Mutual funds are there. And now government is also making mandatory for this digital currency people to provide the details. So what happened, these details are already available with them, and if you do not file the return of income, so there is this government is very smart. They have synchronized all the GST, PAN, your bank account, everything with your Aadhaar and everything. So अगर आपने कुछ किया नहीं है, so they will just have to reconcile the details and send you the notice. So this is the property which you have purchased, or even this is the motor car you have purchased, but you have not filed a return. Please provide a source of income. So नोटिस आने के बाद आपको तो सोर्स प्रूव करना ही है. सो इट इज बेटर टू चेक ऑल द कैटेगरीज इन विच वी आर fitting and file the returns and provide all the details at the time of filing of return. One more thing which I need to highlight this budget has bought is the that you can file your updated return within the 2 years from the end of the financial year. So if 21-22 के लिए आपने return file कर दिया and you have missed certain information, so you can file those revised return with additional tax payment and penalty. So it is not that कि आपको tax नहीं आएगा. If you are able to pay additional tax, additional penalty, then only you can file this your updated return within 2 years. So don't be under the impression कि income tax को कैसे पता चलेगा, क्या उनको फर्क पड़ता है. But believe me friends, उनके पास सब details available है. It is just that you need to reconcile all the details before the filing and pay your taxes and file that return before after reconciling with your bank statement, your shares transaction, your property transaction, and everything.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
So, henceforth, really, we all would be very much cautious while filing the returns and all.
Sir, can I add
Deva
one
sir,
thing,
we have
please?
an less time. We have
Yes,
a
sir.
next schedule at 12:35. So
Okay.
have a small view of each one and we'll have a end the session.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I request all the panelists just to, on this budget, you have to give the marks out of 10. And in 2 minutes, you have to justify the budget. Only 2 minutes you will get it up. And everyone has to give the marks out of the 10 to this budget. So Malkar sir, I request you, I will start from you itself. Yes, sir. Hello. Malkar sir, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, you have to give some marks out of 10 in this budget.
Okay.
And you have to
So the return is from me. So I will quote just a 6 marks out of 10. Being the teacher, I am always this little bit strict and analysis. Why 6? Because of, I thought that in the last 3 years, the petrol and diesel prices is increased from 60 rupees to around 100 rupees. And in that line, the private employee salary has not increased. If they can get certain relief in the taxation, so their disposable income may increase and they can spend more. This is my just a thought process. So, and then again, the indirect tax collection should be increasing. So this is one economic cycle that I want to complete. Second important, why? Because of in terms of an education, again, it's again 6 because of the way at the bottom where to invest on the teachers and educational infrastructure with strengthening the government schools. So that is again not happened, and there is something that is missing with this. And the third important where they had mentioned much more about an aspirational kind of things after 25 years. No, this is not came in our discussion. So I want to come on this point. Amrit Kal. So they are trying to go ahead with 25 years ahead. But today in my pocket, if there is a money to spend, then only we can reach to a certain point. So because of just they are starting again, showing much more dreams alike, surely infrastructure will help, but some immediate reliefs in certain sectors wants. Because of so many youngsters lost their employment during COVID, and the gap government with the tax collection has filled and reached to 2% that is expected. But if you see so many of an salarized person, still they are not able to fill their gaps. And even in many sectors like tourism and hospitality is not able to fill their gaps. So something with that, I think I will not give more than 6 marks out of 10.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Bharat Munim, sir, over to you.
Okay, so about giving marks, I would say I'm very poor personality when it comes to giving marks. Okay, so rather than giving marks, I would say I would comment on. I will give my closing comment about the budget. Now, there are, you can say, education. Number two, we can speak about. Let's start with first about the education. As Dr. Vinod rightly said, that when it comes to the education, okay, education is not only about delivery. I would use what it is more of a mentoring. Being a teacher, you are not only like a robot who is structured in such a way, functions are given, and he is just talking to the candidate and delivering what he has to do. No, there are many, you can say, personal aspects which works out, and being a student you might have also observed. The students have already faced the problem while transforming from classroom teaching to the online teaching. And this digital university, I personally look at this digital university not as a solution or 100% solution to the problem, but it is a kind of supplementary. The way our main answer sheet gets over, we use supplement. It's similarly, it's not a main solution or the main answer to the problem. It can be acted as a supplementary. So आप इसको side hero की तरह चला सकते हो. If that vision is there, then it is a very good step and it has to be appreciated by all of us. But agreeing to Dr. Vinod, if government is having any such kind of intention to get out of, you can say, such a huge infrastructures which is already built in, and digital university, it can replace it, then it's only a dreams. It is never, I would personally feel it is very difficult to become a reality. Another thing I do see a reason when you speak about education, rightly said by Dr. Vinod, that there is a huge requirement to train the trainers. A faculty requires to be trained not only on their area of expertise, okay, but the innovations and the way the technology or the infra and the education system is getting changed. There has to be some sort of plan government should have presented and some funds allocation given to that particular aspects also. Not much, but some should have been given. Moving further about taxation, about income tax, personal tax, as CA Dinesh clearly said that there are no tax changes. The good thing, he highlighted that there was no tax increase.
We are running short of time. Sorry to interrupt you, sir. We are running very short.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Can you sum up?
So I'll sum it up. So it was very good. It is very really good that government has not changed a tax at all. So we have to take it positively. And the last, I would definitely appreciate government on an infrastructure part, not only from previous budget, but the series of budget. If you see, government is completely focused on infrastructure, and they do understand the base of development is infrastructure. So if we speak about the policy regarding the infrastructure, if I have to give mark, I would give 10 on 10 marks to the government, because the way they are planning and the way execution is happening in the infrastructure sector, that is really remarkable. So with this particular note, I would like to end my speech. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Select to rating 10 on 10 to the infrastructure. Over to Vinod, sir. So 2 minutes with you. How many marks you would give?
See, I have been very, as I said in the beginning, that I'm very optimistic about budget in every year budget, you know. There is something or the other that is happening. I was listening to Amitabh Kant ji last night. He said that, you know, budget income tax changes have not happened. Government should not touch, you know, every now and then with the tax rates and all these things. That is all said and done. But again, if you ask me, I would rate somewhere around 6.5 to 7. This is one of the lowest ratings that I'm giving to this particular budget. Is because of a reason that, it has got a broad vision. But when I come to see to it that, how I am benefited in the very next year or very immediate effect, how much I will be benefited, that is again a question. And if the government is successful in doing so, then they will be able to get, good amount of returns in terms of their political victories. But again, I'm giving that half mark extra for the reason that despite of, elections and other things which were there, still government has not gone on to give populist budget. That is also one of the credit must be given to this government, for the reason that, because of the populist measure, it would be happening that, certain portions of the country will be getting so much of benefits, and certain countries, then we would be having analysis being done, this state got this much, and then this equilibrium will happen. So that has not been done. That is something which should be given a credit to this government.
So marks out of 10?
I said 6.5 to 7.
6.5 to 7. Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Over to Dinesh, sir. Over to Dinesh, sir.
Yes. So, being a closing batsman, it is very much important to sum up and conclude all the things. If you am like observing the budget from past couple of years, and if you see the budget commentary or whatever finance minister says, it is more about forward looking budget that will do 3 साल में ये करेंगे, 5 साल में ये करेंगे, 25 साल में ये करेंगे. But when it comes to execution, like we Indian people are very much behind in asking question कि पिछले साल तुमने ये बोला था, where do you stand, what you have done. So this sorry to say, but these politicians and all these people take benefit of कि ये सब ठीक है, भूल जाते हैं. So on the growth measure, taxes collections are at all-time high. Then this capital spending is more than 35% of what it was there in next year. On growth fund and infrastructure fund front, I'll give a rating of 8 out of 10. Like I'm also the common man, and I also have the expectation like you for the reduction of taxes and what benefit is there for the common man. On that front, I'll rate this budget on 5 out of 10. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, all of you, for really having a wonderful opinion on the budget. Pooja ma'am, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm there.
As
Yes.
we are hearing short on, I request Pooja madam to propose the.
Yes. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, madam, you're audible.
Just to sum up, sir, in one line, I will like to say, sometimes it is all about, the bitter pill, which we all don't like, is actually good for the health. So let's say, the budget, people are not happy, but let's hope for the flourishing year in coming times with higher growth of GDP and to recover all the losses that we have faced in last 2 years of pandemic. So let's hope that budget is going to be, this budget is going to show us good results. So I feel hope is everything. I take this privilege on behalf of MBA department to thank all the panel members, Vinit sir, Bharat sir, Dinesh sir, Jairaj sir, Malka sir. So it was really a good discussion, sir. Thank you for decoding each and every aspect of the budget. And I hope all the management students have really helped with your discussion and the insights, and we look forward for more discussions in coming time. Thank you one and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all panelists from Sanjeevani Group of Institute. We'll end the session. Thank you.
Okay.